Now for the main event.
One more piece.
We're getting to work here, yeah.
They brought half a percussion quartet, so I think we're going to fill in with the other two. But let's get this marimba out of the way, right?
So maybe while they're getting set up, I'll tell you a little bit about Pillar 3. When we started our session, we talked a little bit briefly about 7 pillars, the whole piece, this 11 movement piece that the original solo piece is a part of, the kind of penultimate movement. Pillar 3 is another one of those movements. And I believe it is the entire piece is sort of set up in a kind of palindrome. So we have 7 pillars, hence the name, and 4 solo movements that are kind of inserted in between some of the sort of larger pieces, the larger pillars. And Pillar 3 comes in at about sort of like the, 35% or so through the piece. And one of the things that Andy is doing with this piece that's so interesting is he's doing a kind of additive process with regards to instrumentation. So each new movement, we kind of have a new set of instruments. And when we have Pillar 1, the opening movement from the piece, it's very stark. No pitches at all. It's all rhythms. It's all very percussive and driving. And then we get Pillar 2, and we add some crotales and vibraphones. And then we get Pillar 3, and we add the tuned metal pipes here. So we're always kind of like doing this sort of add-on process. So Pillar 3 is sort of one of those first movements where we kind of start to get the whole kind of sound of the piece in our ear, where we get to kind of like most of the instruments or most of the colors in 7 pillars. We kind of start to hear them for the first time in Pillar 3. Should we do it?
This is the first time that these 4 people have met each other, so this is going to be really fun.
Oh, yeah. I'm excited. All right, excellent. You tell me when you're ready, Terry.
I'm ready.
That's what I like to hear. Oh, wow. Sorry,
That was
that's
awesome.
that's really fun to just step in and go for it. Really, really well.
Also,
well
just
done.
pointing out, like, totally memorized. We had no conversations ahead of time.
Right.
It's just crazy. I feel like I can't believe, if you had told me 2 years ago we would do something like this, I would not have believed you. That's so incredible and awesome. So
Right.
yeah.
I'm so jealous.
No, that's wonderful. So, there are only a couple spots where I just wonder if we could like find little, Andy's music is really good at extroversion. Like that's a quality that he nails, and I always find the difficulty with us interpreting it is finding those couple moments where we can like exhale for a second, catch our breath, and then surge forward a little bit. Any little quirky moments.
I think this is so right on, and sort of the thing I was thinking about as well is like, actually in the context of all of Seven Pillars, I know we're not working on a solo right now, but the solos in particular are such a great indication of actually so much of the depth of expression that Andy's music really has. The solos always felt to me so like introverted and so like special and personal. And then I realized like there's a lot of those moments actually throughout the entire piece. I think I agree. Like Andy's music does this like extroversion so well, but there are these little moments in there that are like so like tender and so like childlike or something. Like the first one I can think of is actually working backwards. It's just the very end. The very end of it when we have this ring, 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 beep. It's really crystalline and very like tender and very light. And when we like really understand that there's all that depth there in Andy's music, I think it influences like moments like that,
I think we have to remember that both sides of the extremes are what make both sides pop, right? There's so many fireworks in this piece which are amazing, but if you can get what Victor and Jonny are talking about in the couple of lower moments of this piece, it's going to make the incredible theatrics of the big moments work even better. But I mean, it's kind of what we were talking about in Trap too. If we move our default, our average dynamic or average intensity to forte or to quite intense, then that becomes our average, and it's not special anymore. And two fortes is just a little bit more than that, but it's not this huge thing. So there are not too many moments. There's the end. There's the moment right before the groove starts, like with the bows.
little
There's
bows
just a
and
couple
stuff, yeah.
moments where we can find something that expands the range of expression that we have available to ourselves in this movement. I think it's even more important when you talk about playing the movement on its own than with Seven Pillars. In Seven Pillars, you could just be like, oh, that's why I got Pillar 6 and Amethyst. I have these other moments that can bring it down. But if this is the only thing your audience is going to hear, you have to find a whole world of expression in these 6 minutes. So maybe it's worth spending a little bit of time on these lower moments.
I would go as far to also argue that those moments are in the fast and loud music
Right,
too.
they should be.
Especially in this one, like at the end of the whole pipe diminuting, augmenting thing, we have then this sort of build to the end, right? It's one of my favorite spots actually. Terry and I always like make eyes here and have a great time. This little bit. Actually, like that is, if anything, that can be one of those moments when I like to just think light and tight. Nice and crisp, like tiny little like hi-hat like trap beat sounds, right? Because we got a long way to go
Well,
here
what's
still.
about to happen? 6 bars after that, then we get the loudest vibraphone thing that has ever happened, and then we get this big unison gesture that feels like it should be the end of the piece if we didn't have that little coda. If you don't prepare that motion in some way, it's not going to be as impactful as it could be. There frankly is a limit. We're going to talk about playing louder on the vibraphone, but there is a limit of how loud you could actually play those things. And when you hit that limit, the only thing you can do is stretch the depth of the dynamic. If you can make that a moment of recession just a little bit, then you have all this room to sort of springboard forward.
I even wonder about Victor's first drum set groove
Yeah.
moment. If that's actually
Definitely.
maybe not the most extroverted, shouted moment, but like actually kind of cool. Like that. That's actually like a little cooler in a pocket. And then I come in on the crotales, and we're not super high energy for a little while. I feel like that's an easy spot, I think, for us to get like really excited.
That can be like the sort of chill beat. I always think, I mean, admittedly, I love this groove because I do get to play it a lot. It's a fun one because I always think like a lesser composer, it would be like, but not Andy. There's these constant like hiccups and these moments where it's like, nope, beat's not here, it's actually a little earlier. So then if we hear that, but then also inject a little bit of our own like intensity and moving forward, it's almost like we rob that, we rob that awesome feeling of being like, oh, that beat's actually just a little bit later now. If we can like really sit that back, then it really starts to groove and feel special in a different way.
You want to even just try that groove spot? Just see if...
Good. Now let's take, so we got kick drum, we got pipe melody, we
Bottle.
have cigar box, we have bottle, right? That's all of it?
Yeah.
Put those in a hierarchy for me in terms of most important and least important.
I think the pipes, the melody, is probably the most important.
Okay.
And then the bass drum and the cigar
Snares,
box are
but-
probably kind of equal.
Uh-huh.
And then this is just kind of decorating.
Good. Let's start with just that. Play it again and play the bottle 18,000 times less. So much less you don't even know. So much less.
Hot sauce.
It is a spicy one, yeah.
Better, much better. Now, let's look at the cigar box itself. I think you're right that the kick and cigar box are very important, but not every cigar box note is created equal. Right. There is a skeleton of what feels like a regular backbeat, even though it's not quite that, but it feels like it. Let's make sure those are big, and let's bring all the other sort of almost quasi-ghosted cigar box notes way down, like the bottle.
Another, I don't want to throw too much information at you, but I totally agree also that the pipes, the melody, is the big thing, but they have 20 times as many notes as the cigar box does, which is kind of an interesting, I always feel like that's actually a factor in dynamic as well, is like the density of notes. So it's gonna be heard just by virtue of the frequency of those notes, and if the cigar box is also important, that means those 5 notes, the ones that are strong, can really like those can hit like backbeats.
And I still wonder if it can just groove a little harder too. Like, everybody can do this. Can we all just like clap together? Can we play this groove over top of just a quarter note?
Good. If we had to lean on one side of it, do you think we're getting faster or slower?
Faster.
Yes, exactly. We want it to be the opposite. Yeah. Let's try once more and slow us down. Okay?
Nice, good.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
So much different.
You're using pulse to determine how we feel. Like, you didn't play slower, but you completely changed the feel of the groove. That's an amazing power to have, and it makes all the difference in the world. You're in control in this moment. I know no one's playing a quarter note, but everyone else who's playing with you is going to respond to that kind of energy.
Should we back up just a tiny little bit and look at, or there's another spot, maybe like right before the groove comes in, and that music right before the groove comes in?
C?
Oh, right, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I love this kind of like little calm before the storm a little bit here.
Also, I love your vibe in the beginning where you're just like, I don't actually see Ian, maybe he's awesome too, but you're just like, you're there and you're just like, I love it, and it's just awesome. Yeah, it's such a great moment.
Yeah. This rubber band on the vibraphone is something, I think Andy invented this, Andy Akiho, the composer, and he likens it to a Bartók pizzicato, like snapping the string against the
Make sure, I think in the score it gives you a model number of rubber band. Get that rubber band. This one's too small, and the sound, it doesn't cut over everyone.
That's true. I mean, this works. Like, we're not offended, but you'll enjoy it even more when you get that model. You can whap. It's like, it's unreal. Yeah.
We had it, but we broke 3 of them.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah.
Oh gosh. Okay.
You have
maybe.
to. It's weird. You have to they're like a potted plant. You have to keep them out of the sun. They'll dry out and then they'll break. Like you actually have to keep them in a sort of climate-controlled space. Otherwise, they will always break. Yeah.
Caring for your rubber bands. Yeah.
So, will this be right when Nathan has sort of
Maybe the quarters?
right on when you're by yourself?
Right on it.
Oh, can we do the whole section just for fun? Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Even softer, maybe? On this. Yeah, nice.
Nice.
Love it. Yeah.
Enjoy that triplet.
Only you know what's about to happen.
Let's just take a look at this little thing here. So first of all, I think, is it written in the score to use timbali sticks?
I think so.
I think there is a real difference in sound, certainly when we're playing down there, but even here, I would at least be using the back of the stick just to get a little bit more pitch out of this. I'm also wondering about the way that you're muting. It feels like it's a little harder than it needed to be, right?
Right, yeah. Are you just giving yourself more surface area?
Yeah,
or
just on that off chance that
That you miss one.
miss
I
one
hear that, I
and
hear that.
multiple at the same time. But
I don't know, it just seemed a little challenging to get around.
It's true. It adds like a lot of kind of mass and energy to that it like might slow it down just a touch, you know, and the feeling of kind of lightness inside of this is always a thing I'm trying to
Can we
go
try
for.
one?
Yeah.
I feel like you can play, you were outmatched dynamically by Jonny just a little bit, right? I think you can find a way to match his intensity just a little bit more. Try it. Pause here. So we've spent a million hours thinking about how to make beautiful sounds with actual mallets on this instrument. So let's spend 30 seconds thinking about how to make a sound with the back of the stick. So how does it change depending on where we hit it, the angle with which we hit it, right? So right now you're playing kind of right near the edge, and with a little bit, I think of is it this kind of angle? I think maybe can get a little bit more of a 45-degree angle and a little bit more of the big part of the stick on the bar.
Get like a slightly warmer sound.
That's it,
Yeah,
yeah.
try just a couple. Yeah, and even just experiment with going.
It's
Yeah.
like the stick to tone ratio. You know what I mean?
Close
that's
to
what
the
we're
hand
playing
is
around
like kind of dark and thuddy. Too far away is really bright and brittle. There's kind of a sweet spot in the middle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It sounds much more full.
Yeah, that's a good adjustment though. Yeah. Nice.
And you're doing the right thing. I feel sometimes you have to like get yourself in the right position to be able to do it. I get it. It's a low vibraphone. Yeah.
Every athletic thing you do, someone's telling you to bend your knees. You know, that's the yeah. Let's try it again.
Try it again.
Yeah, there's a lot to think about, but no, exactly. And then going for that.
We were just talking a little bit about the voicing in this moment and sort of how we pace each sort of like groove section in 13. We were sort of just like having a discussion like maybe when we are by ourselves, it's like you're by yourself, so you're the main thing, and then when Terry joins, we sort of create this hybrid sound. And then I always love when the vibraphone comes in, it's sort of this huge addition of pitch suddenly, right? That's the main thing that sort of happens. I love it if you can sort of like help to support that by letting those pipes actually come out and join that. And then maybe that means we voice down the percussion sounds a little bit, I think to help not get in the way. But it's that sort of like elevation of pitch in that moment that really feels like the main thing that's sort of happening. It's sort of like when we were mixing the album.
Oh, right, yeah.
It's a fun story, I'll tell it. When we were mixing the album, I think I was tasked with mixing or helping to mix this part, and Andy and I threw in this like crowd cheers sample at that moment. Yeah, like doo-doo-doo-doo, like this like anthem, like anyway, we don't need to go into it. But it is sort of that moment where it's sort of like, oh, like there's like this big moment of pitch, right? Yeah.
It's true. When this comes in, it's kind of unexpected too, because it's also not in our
the right
hexatonic
pitches, yes.
scale. It's like whoa, and it's
right,
like
right.
yeah.
Yeah.
And sort of like leaning into that.
We talked for a couple minutes about the 13s that we're all going to play. So amazing job playing it. I think there needs to be a little bit more integrity behind every single note. Like this is not a moment to ghost notes like what we were talking about in the groove. Andy really likes to hear the power of every single note. And there's definitely going to be more on the accents, but not at the expense of the other notes. Like you just have to take what you did and bring it all up a bit.
Right, exactly. So the accents are still popping, but we're still hearing like every single one of those. That's also a spot where the butts of the sticks are going to be too much, but the timbale stick gives you just a little more oomph and power on those, so that'll be nice.
Andy,
Can we try it? Oh, Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, like Andy always used to say, like I want to feel it in my teeth. You know, like even those taps, I want to hear meaty taps, right? And this is totally like that. It's like it's totally that.
Yeah, I know. We would roll our eyes at him eventually, but it's
It's kind of the opposite of what you learned how to do when you learned how to play rudiments on the snare drum. Like normally we're trying to bounce and use rebound to help get us through it. No, you just have to play through every single note. Every single one of those 30-second notes. Try it. Even slower. Slower is fine. Just this wonderful foundation if you can play every one of those 30-second notes. We used to practice it a lot actually without the accents at all, just trying to feel comfortable playing underneath that craziness and just making this bed of 30-second notes. But it's really, I like to practice this on as unreboundable a surface as possible to help remind me of what it's going to feel like on the vibraphone. Like just playing it on a practice pad, that is helpful, but a very different physical experience than playing it on the vibraphone. So I play this on like pillows and rugs and things like that, you know, things that are not going to give me any help at all, just to try to build up that muscle.
And this is the Andy Akiho special. One of his favorite things to do is to take a strange number like 13. That's not, most music we play is in 4 or 3 or 6, not 13. And take that and superimpose a consonant rhythm over the top of it. So this 13, when it's all by itself, you can almost start to feel it like its own meter. And that's actually how it's written, just and then when the pipes come in, what those start playing is groups of 8, you know, something that feels really natural. But when you keep playing the 13s underneath it, you get this really interesting and somewhat unpredictable pattern of accents. Which just seems insane and actually took us a very long time to figure out how to do. I think we went like one beat at a time. Okay, what's the first group of 8? What's the second group of 8? So well done learning all that. But then the beauty of it is that it sounds like a strange through-composed group of accents, but we could memorize it like that, actually, because it was all within this pattern. We just had to spend the time kind of figuring out how to do it. But
Really
we're
difficult.
just about out of time here, but I'm wondering, do you guys mind, could we just play a couple minutes of the end of this one? I don't know, where do you guys want to start?
want to do from the entrance of the pipe, or is that too much?
No, it's great. Oh, from there, yeah.
Why don't we get into it?
Sure.
Make the transition.
Okay, what do we got here? Just make sure I know.
Put Victor on the spot. I have to learn how to play on that setup.
Okay,
He's got it.
let's see.